Hello and welcome to episode 4 of our Blender Tips and Tricks series. We are getting close to the end now, so let's jump straight in and not waste any more time. Tip number 33 is to use the Add Object feature in the sidebar. So at the minute we can use our X-axis, we can come over here and draw on the Y, or we can come over here and draw on the Z. So for example, if we're making our own Tudor village, like we were saying before, we can say house 1 is going to be that big, house 2 is going to be this big, and then we're going to have a little hut over here. So on top of that we can draw on faces as well, like so. So now we've made not a house anymore, we've made a very low poly, either someone with a sword or it's a barrier type thing. And don't get me wrong, this tool can be very finicky, so even though we're on the X-axis now, we are still on the Y. So what we can do to sort of fix this quick is, unfortunately, we do have to select something else in the scene, and then now we're back on the X like so. So we can draw on the X, and we're back on the Y, so yeah, select something else, and then yeah, bring in the add cube, and then we can draw on the X again. Same thing, so if we go on the Y, we're now on the Z, so select something else, come back, and now we're on the Y, like so. We don't need to go through all of that. So it's not just cubes we can draw, we can cylinders, cones, spheres. So for example, if we had our cylinder and we want it on the Z, for example, we can draw one here. And as you can see, not a perfect circle, so if we hold shift while we use this, we can do that and make our own perfect circle. If you always want perfect circles, you can basically just make it so it's fixed. So ta-da, no holding shift, and then we've got our cube or cylinder there. So that's tip 33. Tip number 34 is F3 is a very universal tool in which you can find basically anything that you're after. So for example, if I had this cube and I didn't know the shortcut was R, for example, or I didn't know I could come up to object and do transform and rotate there, I can click F3 and then select rotate and then enter, and then we've got that. So very powerful. Basically I'm still finding things a part of that I didn't think would be, but then I'm also thinking, well, why wouldn't it be? It basically is a catalogue of everything that can be done. So for example, if I was to select this face and inset it, and I want to extrude, and I didn't know E was the extrude button, I can go F3, extrude, and then we can pick how we want to extrude, and then if I want to extrude manifold, like so. And yeah, basically that is how it works. And for example, if I clicked extrude on these two faces, it extrudes that way, but if I extrude along normals, they'll go in their own direction. So I can even type in extrude along normals. There you go. So yep, powerful tool, definitely use it. Number 35 is F9 is a really powerful tool for bringing back the action bar, and as a disclaimer, until something else is selected. So if we bring in a plane, and then what we've done is we go into edit mode, subdivide it, and do that 10 times. Click off it, and then we realise, oh no, we haven't got our centre because we should have subdivided it an odd number of times. What we can do, F9, and then we can decrease it to 9, 7, 5 for example. And yeah, the reason for the disclaimer is if we were to add in another plane and then we bring it over here for example and move it on the Y, we can't actually now go back to our subdivision because the last action we did was we used the move. So again, F9, we can now bring our move back and we can move it accordingly like so. Tip number 36 is Shift R repeats last action. So if for example we had our own low poly stairs like this and we want 10 steps, what we can do is Shift D, line it up, and then Shift R like so, and we now have our stairs. So Shift R repeats last action like so. So for example, if we moved this on the X like that, then say we select this one, Shift R, and Shift R. So now we've got our offset stairs like so. So right foot, left foot. Shift S is going to be tip number 37, and that is what basically brings up world stuff. So Shift S brings up, say, selection to cursor, cursor to grid, cursor to world origin, cursor to selected, brings up all of these. So if, for example, we brought in our cube and we decided to just do some weird modeling with it, so extrude that down, insert this, extrude out, and then insert that, extrude in, nothing too crazy. So now we've got this weird object, but now it's away from the world origin, and obviously if we apply location, it just means that the origin goes over there. What we can do, Shift S, and we can have selection to cursor, like so. And if, for example, we move our cursor over here, because now when we bring in a new object, it now comes over there, what we can do is Shift S, and then we can put the cursor to world origin again. And then, like we did before, we can then say, okay, well, we want this to go to the cursor, or vice versa. We want the cursor to come to our object, like so. So yep, Shift S brings up our world stuff. Tip number 38 is that basically Control plus and Control minus select more faces or less faces. So if we just put our cursor back to the world origin, and say we bring in a cylinder, and we bring that over, and now we also bring in a UV sphere, which we also bring over. So just real quick, if we cut this cylinder in half, if we cut this sphere in half like so, and then delete that, and then we come down here and delete the top face on that, bring these down together, and then what we can do is move this so it line up. We can join them both, Control J joins objects together, and then basically M is merge. So if we merge by distance, we've lost 32 vertices. So alright, we've got multiple of these, and what we can do is if we select the top, so instead of having to go, okay, we've got all these faces, and then oh no, I don't want those, and I don't want those. There's a lot of shortcuts being used in this, so yeah, what you've missed out on is, so if we drag and select, that selects. If we do Control select, that deselects. So for example, if we did that, we can use Control and then deselect these ones. But to save us a lot of time, what we can do is select the top vertex if that is what we wanted included, and we can do Control plus, and then we've got all of these. And if we go, oh no, we've got one or two too many, Control minus, and then we go back on ourselves like so. Think of it as an infection. It's basically just infecting nearby faces that it's joined onto like so. Tip number 39, Control L selects linked. So if we had two objects and they are and they are like this, and then we bring this down, and then we attach it to the bottom there. So if we wanted to select all of these, we could do Control L, but then that takes up all of our undos basically, on the off chance that we ever want to do that. We can just hit Control L and it will select everything here, and then with our cube we can do the same, Control L. Control basically selects everything that is that object. So if we were to bring in a Suzanne basically, and then we just put her there, so you know, again, Control L, that is linked, Control L, that's linked. And if we bring in a cube, it's not like it selects the linked as in, you know, they're both cubes, it just means linked as in this is linked to that, to that, to that, to that, to that. So ta-da, that is how Control L works. Tip number 40 is just get to know the difference between Control Alt Delete. So for example, in this, if we hold Alt, we can select our loop cuts like so. If we hold Shift and Alt, we can select multiple loops like so. And if we hold Control, it finds the shortest path. So we can say select them, and then what we can do is shift that one, and then we can select that, and then that, and then we can do some changes there like so. So yeah, Control, find shortest path, Shift basically make sure that we're selecting each one, and then Alt is our loop cut like so. So then, ta-da, we can do a little thing there as well. You can use them interchangeably, so of course we can select just in general, and then Control is also used to remove selection. And just like going up here, if we were to select our plane, and we want to select all of these because we want to put them in a new selection, or collection should I say. Shift and select all of these, and then we can use M, new collection, and we can use this Control Alt Delete like so. And then what we can do is, if we only want cube 5 and cube 8, we can use Control to select them as well. And Alt, I believe, doesn't really do much in terms of the selection process there. So yeah, get used to Control Alt Delete because they can really help when it comes to selecting faces or going through our outliner. Tip number 41. Get used to using vertex groups, because these are quite powerful in terms of basically our groups. So if we bring over a cube, for example, and we want this part to be our roof or just something like that, then what we can do is we can call this our roof and assign that to being our roof. So then if we end up coming back and none of this is selected, we can select just those. Same goes for basically if we had a cloth simulation. So if we had this and then we made it a bit more dense like so, what we can do is go over to our physics and add a cloth sim, turn it into cotton for example, and if we click play we'll see the whole thing just falls. But if we select all these edge ones and then make a vertex group and call this our pin, because that basically is what they will become, and then we go back to our physics and we scroll all the way down to our shape and then put our pin group as our pin. If we then click play, we'll see that they stay where they are. So vertex groups aren't primarily just for this, but yeah, they can be powerful for selection, simulation, or even if we just end up using it as a modifier or a constraint. So for example, if we selected this and we said we want to make this a child of this plane, but we only want it to be a child of the pin, for example, and then if we click play, we can see that unfortunately, because of the way that the orientation is, that is why we've got this. But basically, vertex groups can really come in handy for that. Tip number 42 is if you're using shape keys, for example, and if we bring this over here and then we have our shape keys and have another one, and in a previous video we have it where we stretch this out. So now we've got our stretch, so we're going to call this our stretch accordingly, and then in that same video we also have this one that's called shrink. And what we did was, because our stretch is already at 1, we wanted our shrink to then go back up to there. But as you can see, in edit mode, we then start going this way and we start reversing our normals, which aren't on show for some reason. There we go. So as you can see, our normals go in reverse. So as you can see, nothing is actually wrong with it though. If we add this shape key edit mode, what we can see is everything in action, so we know we can now pull this up a lot closer. So then if we do that and that, so now we've got our stretch and then we've got our shrink that follows. So basically, yeah, shape keys, that is useful for basically keeping an eye on, especially if your shape key relates to another shape key as opposed to the basis. And that concludes episode 4 of 5 of our Blender series. The next episode is our final episode and marks the end of our series. So, thank you for watching, and I'll either see you there or I'll see you in the next one.